All right. Let's see. We are now officially week 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. This is week 6 check-in. Last check was the first check of our putting our second deep on. Mine had been drawing out some really funny comb. I kept calling it wonky comb because, like any new person keeping bees, you hear a term and you want to use it quickly. So it turns out it was not. It was just they weren't building it out right. So anyway, let's see. We are Monday, Memorial Day, 28th of May. It's a warm day today. Probably in the 60s, 70s. The bees are very active today. I had posted some video earlier in the week. They were pulling in some really red pollen, and it just fascinates me. I want to know what the pollen source is. Somebody said it might be henbit. Anyway, getting right into this week. There's our top box lid. I did buy me one of these fancy new hive tools that has a little bit of everything. It's got a J hook, but it's also got the flat edge there. They call that piece a queen excluder on the top, the edge. And I'm not even sure what this piece is for, but anyway, I got myself a new hive tool because having 200 hive tools wasn't enough. So, all right, let's get right into this. Been out here for a little while. It's funny, everyone says that the warm weather makes the bees more calm, but it certainly makes them more active. All right, it's our top board. They are not hovering over the feeder as much because honestly, I haven't fed them. We were told in class that it looked like it was probably okay to let them go a little bit longer without food and see how they're taking it. So I did bring a little bit food out here today, but let's just put this over here. I also had a bit of a freak out this week. That I had done my order of my search wrong when I did my inspection. That last week I had taken the top box off and moved it on Lisa's hive, and when I came back, I realized that her queen was in the top box. So that means the whole time that I had that top box over there, her queen was over there. I was told in class that's not that big of a deal, just to keep an eye on it. But anyway, I thought it was kind of interesting. All right, last week I had a bunch of weird comb. Let's see, looking out to frame 7 empty. This week we're also going to do our first mite wash. So I get to experience killing several of my bees. We've already had a long drawn out discussion about this topic, so we've come to grips with it. Okay, so frame 1, nothing. Frame 2, nothing. Frame 3 has bees. They are starting to draw out, it would appear. But nothing really happening here. Okay, so 1, 2, 3. This will be the 4th frame. Oh, this one much better from last week, and we have eggs. For sure, we got eggs laying down, so that means she's been here in the last 2 or 3 days. Looks like I've got some drones running around here too. So we've added some boys to the mix. See, last week there was some really weird comb, not burr comb necessarily. It was kind of coming up all this way. If you watch my video from last week, you'll see what I'm talking about. They've also been bringing in some really good red pollen. Now I'm just blowing on the bees to get a good look down inside. I bought myself some grandpa glasses so that I could, yep, there's eggs laying down in there. So she's been in here in the last 3 days. So odds are she's in this upper box, and I may see her on this next frame. They're doing a better job on my frame this week. Yep, larva, eggs for sure. So this is my top box. 1, 2, 3, 4. This is the 5th frame. Oh, see, they're building out this weird stack of comb here again. I gotta undo that, I think. I don't know if you can see that, but there's a real big stack of comb right there. 2 of them, in fact. This week I'm gonna have to do a mite wash. As I said, it's gonna be my first one, and we got to watch in class quite a bit. I probably watched 3 or 4 of them. See queen activity up here, but I'm not seeing her. Get out of there, girl. There's one stuck in there. I'll let them draw that back out. Dang, that had some larvae in it too. Okay, no queen. A little bit of comb on the bottom. I'll let them recover that. Holy smokes, man. This little girl has a bright red pollen sac on her. I don't know if you can see. Oh, she just flew off. So mine, for some reason, are building a lot of comb on the bottom of this frame, and they're attaching it to the frame below it, which makes me wonder, is this kind of the same thing that we had going on last week? You have to ask and see if I'm doing something wrong or what. Yeah, we have eggs, larvae. Yeah, she's been up here laying for sure. A little bit of a cooler week this week, but it's going to warm up. But you can see their pattern is very centralized. Kind of all in here. So I'm going to scrape this off. One of the things my mentor told me this week is that for brood, or for the double deeps, is that if they leave my 2 bottom frames empty, and I'll show you what I mean here in a few minutes, but if they leave my frames empty on the bottom, we got to move capped brood down, but we don't have any yet. So like I said, I didn't feed them at all this week. They're starting to build that out. A little weird the way they're building it, but nothing crazy. I do not, however, see any indication of queen activity up here on this one. Yeah, it looks like they're just dropping nectar down in there, but they're building my comb in these weird bubbles right there. So I'm not really sure why this upper box is doing that, but and I decided this week I am going to give them a little bit of feed, but not much. Come on, mama, get out of the way. Okay. So that's box one. We have 1, 2, 3, call it 3 frames of bees. 3 maybe, yeah, 3 frames of bees. Definitely eggs, larvae, and seeing some nectar. So that's all good. All right, that's box one. We're not going to do our mite wash on this one because they say you want to do it on a box that has capped brood on it, or on a frame, if you will, that has capped brood. So, put some smoke on and drive these girls down. You can see here, if you can see it, there's all this comb on top, and it's what's kind of pissing me off is that it seems like it's just right here. So I don't know if it's something that I'm doing or just they're trying to just be ornery with me, but all right, so we know that the queen has been upstairs, but she is not currently, or at least we didn't see her. So this is our 8th frame down below. This was an empty frame recently. We just added this when we added our second box here a while back. You can see in the corner here some of that really red red pollen that we're seeing. And this is full of pollen stores. You can see kind of maybe in there, there's a really red pollen sac on pollen pants, as they call them. All right, so this is our 8th frame of this hive starting to get drawn out. Seven is fully drawn out. It has also had hatched. Now this one's interesting because the brood pattern is all over here now. This looks like mostly pollen and then honey up in the corners, or nectar. They haven't even fully drawn out this corner, so that's weird. I'll check on that. This is an interesting frame because it's like half brood and then half pollen over here, and that's not normally the way you would expect to see it. And then this one too, this is a really interesting one. I think this might be a result of me having pulled my second box on a little bit too early. But I've got signs of queen activity, lots of pollen. I mean, they're just bringing in pollen like crazy. Really trying to keep an eye out for my queen. So that's an interesting outcome I wasn't expecting, is that they haven't fully now drawn out these frames because I've given them a space up above. Okay, this looks like a more traditional frame. You've got the capped brood in the middle. I definitely see eggs, larvae. Well, I see larvae, I should say. I'm just keeping a close eye on, see if I see my queen. Trying to really pay attention to them this week. Okay, this side more traditional. Yep, I see some eggs laying down, which means 3 days. So queen activity, I see larvae. I see them with some honey. So all the good signs of an active working colony. No queen on that one. So this one is a almost fully hatched out frame. You can see all the gaps. And looking at the frames themselves, oh, I see some eggs on the corner here. This is all fairly fresh hatch out, I think, though. Oh yeah, she's been back through and laid all this. This all has eggs in it. This has all fresh eggs. Yep, all 3-day-old eggs. So she's been here up and down for sure recently. Again, I don't know if you can see it, but the pollen sacs, or the pollen pants they call them on that one, that's crazy. It's so bright red. They're depositing. They have a ton of pollen in here. They have just been getting jiggy with the pollen. Alright, so I see eggs. I don't see much larvae, but I see queen activity, so that's good. This one's full of larvae, eggs. So she's been back through and laid in here. Yep, eggs laying down. So standing up eggs, 1 day old, leaning over at a 45-degree angle. 2 days old, laying down on their side, 3 days old. General rule of thumb. And then after that, they turn into a larva, or pupa, and then a larva. I forget the order. Obviously, no bug expert. All right, she's been back through here, laid eggs, laid larva, or there's larva, I should say. A couple drones. So we got some males around here just jacking around, ain't doing jack squat. Eggs. Oh, there's my queen right there in the center of the frame. She's just looking for a place to hide right now, or lay right now, right here. Man, her abdomen is swollen. She is primed and ready. Doing a good job, Mama. Yep, she's just primed and ready and looking for a place to lay. So there we go. Got queen activity. Lots of eggs, lots of laying activity going on, which is great. This is a fully framed brood. Eggs, larvae all the way out to the edge. one's got honey on top, eggs and larvae. What's interesting about this one is I don't see a lot of pollen, but and this one's light. This is just full of nectar and actually nothing on the back side. So the bees, they draw to the middle. So they're getting a little wound up, so I'm gonna get a little bit of smoke. Well, I got them fired up. All right, I think some of them must be knowing that their day is coming. So, what I understand to do a mite wash, here's what I have learned. Okay, we're gonna find a good frame of capped brood that we know that the queen is not on. And I'm going to go as far as to say we're going to come in about this many frames. Yeah, I think this is going to be the frame that I use. So, what I learned was a little trick that if you just roll them down like this, they'll fall right into the cup. And oddly enough, they don't like this. I can feel them, they're not happy. Alright, so I'm going to toss them in the mite wash and kill them instantly. Okay, so we get them in, we get them dead. This is the unfortunate reality that we're dealing with as beekeepers now. Okay, so all of them are dead. What we have in there is just some rubbing alcohol. Okay, now for a mite wash, what we're going to do, carefully replace the lid, first of all. Hopefully we keep all our alcohol in here, and then we're just going to wash them for a minute. And what we're doing is we're looking for Varroa destructor mite. So you just put about half a cupful of bees into here. And we talked about this with them this week. I told them it's going to be like going to a doctor's visit. don't expect, I know, remember we talked about it. I come out and talk to them all the time. I tell them that they're having a doctor's appointment this week and that they might get a little bit of nowie, but that it's not intentional. Okay, so giving it about enough time here, and I see no mites. Give it another couple seconds. I don't see any mites, but can't judge too early. It's a warm day, so the bees are out and about having a good old time. Yep. Yep, I think we're good. Okay, so no mites in this colony, which is to be expected. It's a new package of bees that we installed. So I'm gonna just smoke them a little bit. They're just hovering right where I don't want them. So. Trying not to set my smoker on the ground. This is another big thing from class yesterday. Excuse me, ladies. Watch out. Gotta get in there. Come on. Okay, we'll just put this frame back in. And what I do now is I take these videos and I re-watch them when I get back home, and then that's what I make my notes for the week out of. So I'm not taking a lot of notes here. Come on. I'm not taking a lot of notes while I'm out here, but what I am doing is following up and taking notes when I get back inside. Come on. I had somebody ask me this week if I was worried about getting stung at all. And I think the way I look at it is that when you work with cows or bulls or anything, you run the risk of getting gored or, you know, whatever. I think this is a pretty nominal risk given what my experience has been so far. And I'm more than willing to take it. So, that is Tetra Pan's hive inspection for the week. I'll reload up my smoker here. But they seem to be doing good. Really pleased with the bees. Pleased with our progress. We're making a little bit of a hot mess, but nothing major. Tons of pollen though, holy smokes. Make sure my opening is to the front. Try not to squish any bees, but it happens, so you just try not to. And, oh. And I'm gonna put a little bit of food in here for them, nothing silly, but okay, well, we're got eggs and larvae, uppers and lowers. We got queen activity in both boxes. Lots of pollen. Lots of nectar. A little bit of concern on the outside frames. I'm going to watch this again and just see what I think. And then I'll probably ping my mentor. His name's Scott. And ask him what he thinks about it. But that's it for Hive 1.